Welcome to Command West, Commanders podcast, where we tackle the latest Washington football team news and answer the hard-hitting questions like, did Philly pay off our equipment staff to not fix Jaden Daniels' helmet onto his head?
Chin strap, at least.
Try to get him decapitated. I'm your host, Bradley Roach.
Hey, what's up? I'm Tico Wells.
I'm Eddie Passarelli, and not only was his chin strap flying off his helmet, but his mouthpiece kept falling out of his mouth.
And I'm Donnie Roach. Let's attack those questions.
We are Command West on week one, gentlemen. Week one is in the books.
Woo, 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 woo,
What a great week of football. Oh my god.
It was a good week of football.
So much fun.
Except for one game.
It was a blast. I had a great time. Some really, really awesome games. Close games too. Wow. It was great. But we're here to talk about one game in particular, and that was Commanders versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a pretty brutal 20-37 loss.
Wasn't the game we hoped it would be.
Let's break it down.
Okay.
So we went into this game, underdogs, but I think what we came out was, at least for me, I kind of saw two things happen. Number one is, wow, are we a brand new team? And we looked like it. We looked like we had a rookie quarterback. We looked like we had an offense is in a new system. We look like a defense who has all new players and is in a new system. And the other thing I saw is Tampa Bay's good.
Mm-hmm.
Baker Mayfield
Baker Mayfield had a day.
And as a top 10 quarterback, that kid was slinging it. I was impressed by Baker Mayfield. But I want to hear from y'all. What are our off the top of the head thoughts, and then we'll get a little bit deeper into it.
Well, I'll go. This is really my first time getting to look at Jaden Daniels and, some of the questions about his slight frame and this and that. But the thing that stood out for me is that he can get some great yards. He had 88 yards on the ground rushing. He's got to learn how to slide.
I thought he had over 100.
First thing I thought about was RG3. No. Unless
no, you're right.
I got
Tico.
my stuff
You're
from
right.
ESPN.
You're right. No.
Tico.
Bradley confirmed it.
Okay. Yeah, he ran 16 times.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of had
according. Yeah, and B-Rob went 12 for 40 yards. Eckler was 2 for 10. I don't necessarily want to see B-Rob run 12 times and get only 40 yards. That's kind of like 2 yards in a cloud of dust. But he made some good catches. B-Rob made some good catches. And also I don't like the fact that Terry was 2 for 4 for 17 yards. That's not going to work. Going to work.
And that was, if
I
I'm not mistaken,
like Jaden. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was going to say, Tico, if I was not mistaken, that was your commandment last week, was get Terry the ball.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
So
it did not happen.
No.
But I mean, you also have to think too that, when a guy like Terry is being doubled all day, we don't want to start slinging the ball around until we know what we're dealing with. Their defense, top notch, right? These guys went to the playoffs 3 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and they had Terry.
Super Bowl.
They had Terry open down the sideline. He had him wide open. It would have been 6 if he had laid it in
times.
there. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's not. I don't know that it. I mean, and I'd have to watch to see what he was doing on other plays, but I don't think it's because people weren't getting open. I do think Jaden felt he had to run a lot, and I'm not sure if that's an O-line thing or if that's a rookie quarterback thing. Does he need to learn to stay in the pocket a little bit longer? He proved he can run. Like if there was a highlight of the game, the guy's got wheels, right? And when he starts moving, he can gain some yards. I don't really want to see him running that much. I'd rather see him find his open receivers. The fact that the 3 top receivers were 2 running backs and a tight end, I think Austin Eckler, B-Rob, and and Zach Ertz were the top receivers, you know. So that's not something that's to your point about Terry McLaurin. That's not what you want to see. You know, the best things the offense did was Jaden Daniels scrambling for yards, and that's about the best I
Yeah.
can say for the offense. And then and when we get into the defense, there's not much good I can say. You know,
Before we go to the defense, I do want to
okay,
just say talk
okay,
about the offense for a little bit, because I think, you know, my knee-jerk reaction was Cliff Kingsbury, what are we doing here? We're not running the ball, guys aren't getting open. And after I watched the all 22s, I still think that we could have run it a little bit more, but the Tampa, I think I was mistaken. I think last week I said that the Tampa front seven wasn't that good. And what I knew about the Tampa defense is they don't really have a great pass rusher. And Yaya, I forget his last name. His name is Yaya. He's a defensive end. He was pressuring. I mean, he's the one who had that big sack, but he had some great pressures. But what they're really good at is stopping the run defense. And so we did not have much success, as Tico pointed out, as running. So we didn't run it as much as I liked. But after watching it, I'm really, really impressed with what Cliff Kingsbury did. I think he changed it up a lot. He used a lot of different formations, a lot of different movements and route concepts, and guys were open. What I saw from Jaden Daniels was some gun shyness, which is not unusual in a rookie quarterback in his first game. I am incredibly hopeful for Jaden Daniels. I thought he looked awesome. I mean, the throws he did make were great, on target, accurate, and on time. He was safe with the football. I mean, when we talk about that Terry overthrow, and there was one more, when I watch it back, I don't see him he did overthrow it. Terry slows down, okay? Number one. And number two is a veteran quarterback trusts his receiver enough to go make a play there. Maybe he doesn't lead him as much. In a rookie quarterback, you go, okay, I want this guy to catch this football with no interference. So he lays it out a little bit further than he should.
We can go run for it. Yeah.
So that he can go run for it. A veteran QB, and I just learned this. This is new to me. A veteran QB gives his receiver more of a, I'm going to go up and make a play than leading him, because the reality is it's easier for a receiver to either get a penalty or go up and make a play than it is to drop it in the perfect spot that it's right here.
Right.
For a quarterback. So a quarterback will not lead him as much. So I think that's some veteran stuff that he needs to learn. And there's some other plays, like on that big sack, where Terry is breaking open. And they talk about NFL open versus college open. And I think that's a big adjustment for
I heard that term
QBs.
today.
Is in college, dudes are wide open because the talent isn't as much. But in the NFL open is just a bit of separation. And I saw Jaden Daniels hesitate and not throw the ball when dudes are open, just not to the level that he's used to. So I think in time, he's going to make those throws because he's accurate as hell. He's so accurate with the football that he needs to be able to anticipate those openings a little bit better. But 0 interceptions, gentlemen. I mean, he's taking care of the football and he's taking care of himself. We talk about not sliding. It's actually less dangerous to dive at a dude's feet than slide. We see it every year, somebody sliding and them hitting the head into the ground, concussion, out for weeks. If you dive at a dude's feet, what are they going to do? Kick you in the helmet? That's why you got a helmet on. You know, he protected himself enough. There was a couple hits that he shouldn't have taken, but the hardest hit he took was in the pocket on a blind side hit.
Yeah.
That's the hardest hit he took.
That's going to be, pocket awareness of the NFL versus pocket awareness in the open field running around. college ball that we see. You know, I mean, I like the fact that Kingsbury decided to throw the ball out with little shuttle pass to what's his name, the Austin Eckler.
Excellent. Yeah.
He didn't really get a chance to get his mojo working, but you could see he had some acceleration of old. Like I didn't remember him being that good or that move, you know, that agile. He is jumping over players and hurdling and oh yeah, by the way, Jaden hurdled too. Don't be hurdling.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Yeah, Vic.
I love
Vic
that.
used to do that.
Again, he's avoiding getting hit. If that means jumping over a tackle, I'm all for it.
Right, but game one is like you have legs of a chicken. Like, can you just that thing's gonna snap like a little chicken.
It
leg.
is risky because if you don't make that hurdle,
It's game one.
Come
We'd
you
like
can
to
flip
get
and
to
come down
6
hard.
game wins this year. You know, let's get it with the same quarterback. But again, I liked what we saw. Pass wise, of course, we could have done more. You know, it's easy to point fingers at the defense when we get to the defense part of the talk show, but I must say, just bluntly, I thought the defense played pretty well considering Evans was going off. Like the guy's catching the guy was on him like glue, and he still couldn't make a. You know, the guy's just a top guy. I mean, you're just not going to be able to stop him.
It's a great point, Eddie. I mean, Benjamin St. Juice on both those touchdowns was all over at Mike Evans, like to the point where there might have been, there should have, you know, you could argue there should have been a penalty.
Interference call, yeah.
And Mike Evans is just that guy. You know, he just makes incredible and St. Juice, he needs to turn around and he needs to make a play on those passes.
Turn around, perfect.
And you know, and yeah, he needs to do that. And like you said, Mike Evans is one of them dudes.
Yeah.
You know, he's a Megatron type body, tall, you know, quiet type. He's not a big rah-rah, you know, vocal dude. He just makes plays.
Yeah.
You throw it up, he catches the ball. It's not even all that exciting all the time.
Yeah.
It's just he catches it. You throw it in his neighborhood. St. Juice had some nice coverage on him.
Yep.
That one coverage that he had on him in that left end zone touchdown. They said it. They called it late hands. Late hands Evans, because it was like he stands there and it's like the ball's not, it's almost there, and he goes.
Yeah.
And
right.
It was incredible.
You said it, Chico. You said it. Turn around, man. Sometimes when you're in the end zone, look, you're going to get beat. If you're going to get beat, you're going to get beat. You might make a play on the ball like we did last year in one of those key games. I remember our defenders went up and
and they were fighting. They were fighting too. They were arm fighting the whole way.
Yeah, they were.
Good because
Mike breaks through and boom, like you said, Eddie, those last minute hands.
Yeah.
Boom.
He sees it coming.
And also, you know, Bradley, I'm glad you came in with a positive idea because at first glance, it looks like we weren't able to run the ball.
Right.
That's not exactly true. We had 138 yards on the ground.
Well,
and usually a good day of running is measured in hundreds. You get 100 yards.
And I don't want to be
unfortunately.
Yeah, go ahead, finish it because you're going to say what I was going to say.
No. Yeah, because usually if you get 100 yards, that's considered a great day on the ground, right?
Yeah.
If you got running back went off, or two of them went off.
Who does 100 yards, you know? But, you know, Eckler had 40. I mean, he had 10 yards, but he also had 52 yards receiving. So that's 62 yards for Eckler. That's a good day. B-Rob had 40 yards rushing and 49 yards receiving. 89. That's a pretty good day, contribution-wise.
It's just, and I don't want to always be the dark cloud, but the you look at the rushing yards. It's hard to look at those rushing yards as a good stat when you know so many of them came from Jaden Daniels scrambling. I mean, great. Again, I like that Jaden Daniels has the wheels, but I want to see some of those rushing yards come from rushing plays. But I agree with you, Tico. I was actually glad to hear your positive take on things, Bradley. I remember during the game, I think in the third quarter at one point, I said to you, because we were watching it together, do you think he's gun shy? It's hard to tell when you're watching the
Yeah.
game if guys are getting open downfield or not because of the camera angle, And I had that sense that maybe he's a little bit, he's not seeing huge separation and he's a little bit gun shy. Yeah, first
Yeah.
game, first rookie year, that I guess you can't fault him for that. Hopefully, those are things he'll grow into,
Yeah.
and that's kind of my take on this whole game is it was very disappointing in my mind, but I think it gives us a place, it gives us something to work from and something to improve from, and that's really what this season is about. Look, I would not unexpected that we would lose to Tampa Bay in game number one. I think three of us, I think Bradley was the only one who didn't pick it, but three of us were hoping that they would. But I guess I was hoping to see more, and to I think it was Bradley's original point. We look like a team that was just, we're just trying to gel. We got a rookie quarterback, and that I guess that was my fear going into it. I had said I said to you, Bradley, sometimes I feel like training camp isn't long enough. When you got to trying to bring all these new pieces together like we are, sure, training camp is plenty long enough for the Kansas City Chiefs and the Eagles and the teams that kept most of their key pieces in place.
Right.
They can put it back together pretty quickly. But we're starting from scratch, and it just there's a lot to learn for those guys.
Yeah.
When you're putting that defense together, and it's if they line up this way, make sure you're covering that guy, and I got him deep, and you got him short, and I don't know how they do it.
Well,
So
that's why I feel like the word disappointing, and that may be how you feel. I'm not gonna take that away from you.
mhm.
That I feel like that puts a really negative spin on it because, in fact, I felt like I would say that the defense played worse than I thought.
Mhm.
But other than that, and really, I want to talk about the defense, and we'll kind of put a bow on the offense and move on to
Okay.
the defense.
Okay.
But really, I felt like they played exactly how I thought they were going to play. The score is reflected in a non-competitive game. This game was competitive for three quarters. If at the beginning, with two made field goals, it was 9-13 at one point. You know what I mean? Like this game did not. It wasn't a 37-20 game the whole way. And I really think that the offense got into a rhythm in the beginning at the end of the first half, and at the end of the second half, Jaden relied too much on his legs.
Mhm.
And that's just how it is. And it was a really hot day. What I saw on defense, I guess I'll start off unless anybody else wants to say anything about their offense. But
No, let's move on to
what I
defense.
saw on defense, I saw old guys who haven't played football in a long time get really tired because I don't know, Tico, if you have the stats right there, but I know in the first half, our run defense was pretty damn good.
Actually, that's true.
We had some tackles for loss. We were able to keep them pretty contained on our run defense. Front seven was playing well. In the second half, the run game got away from us. It was bad. And I saw Bobby Wagner, who is old as shit, and Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen, who haven't played a preseason snap, get really tired and really gassed and got shredded on in the run game.
Yeah.
That's what I saw.
Yeah.
Well, also too, give some credit back to Baker Mayfield and the offense of the Tampa Bay because they learned how to grind it out slowly. They got across the field. First of all, they got all the way down the field 7 or 8 times and scored on 7 of 8 times. I mean, it was it was too easy for them. So of course we're going to get gassed. But then again, you have the first game of the season.
And it's 100 degrees.
It was hot and humid.
We haven't practiced this hard. Wait, this isn't practice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Baker looks. The other thing we were doing at the beginning of the game is I felt like we were getting some pressure on Baker and flushing him out of the pocket, but unfortunately the pocket wasn't collapsing. And kudos to Baker. He's a guy who can scramble as well, and he can extend a play and keep his eyes downfield and still make a play. And he did that to us too many. We got burned so many times.
And escape
I
artist.
thought we had him in their arms. I thought he was going to, and I kept thinking to myself, one of these days they're going to get a sack eventually because they're getting some pressure on him. And they never did. And not only that,
we had I think one to two sacks. I'm gonna look it
Yeah.
up. I think we had. Sorry, continue.
No, you're right. You're right. I shouldn't say we never did, but it felt like he got away a lot, and then I think the pressure kind of went away in the second half. As you to your point, they were probably gassed at that point, So
Yeah.
it just felt like we never got what I
I
was
saw
really
a lot of
hoping
that
for.
around
Big
the
big
entire
sack.
NFL games. I saw a lot of tired defenses.
Yeah.
I think it was
Yeah.
just part. It was also magnified by if somebody had a ground game that was killing them and they can't get off the field.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we had a little bit of that. I think ours was more old age and gassed for a first game than it was, they weren't really running on us entirely. They started an air assault as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then Houdini starts running around, Baker Mayfield running around like Houdini, getting out of friggin' padlocks over there. I'm like,
Yeah.
how does
It
he
was-
not get tapped?
You bring up a great point though, Dad, because so Cleveland Farrell had one sack. But we pressured Baker a good amount, especially in the beginning of the game, and
In
we
the
just
beginning.
could not finish the play. And I saw that kind of all over the place. We were talking, Tico, you were talking about it. Eddie, you were talking about it. Benjamin St. Juste blanketing Mike Evans, couldn't finish the play, didn't turn his head, didn't put his hand out. And Benjamin St. Juste, he's a fourth year player. Like, there's kind of no excuse. We've kind of seen that from him a lot. But here's what the excuse is if he's going to get one. There's a brand new coaching staff. And we know last year that those guys weren't coaching this secondary.
And so they didn't learn anything.
Yeah. If there's hope for this secondary, it's in the coaching staff of this team. And I see someone like Mike Sanderstill who had some great moments and had some moments where he's running around with his head cut off because, taking the wrong angles on plays. But these are teachable moments, and we've got a new team. I mean, I look at our defense and I count 4 players that were starters for us last year.
Right.
Like it's crazy. These players haven't worked together. The lack of communication was damning yesterday or Sunday. Damning. I mean, it was bad. I'm not going to excuse
and it was visible. It was obvious to people who aren't analysts. You know what I mean? Like it's one thing for somebody up in the booth, Troy or somebody to analyze those things. It was obvious to me, to people who are not analysts that they weren't all on the same page. And the other thing I was going to say, if we're going to talk secondary, I cannot not mention Emmanuel Forbes. I don't think I'm alone in saying I'm done with Emmanuel Forbes. I feel like he's been given enough chance. And I know, and Bradley, you and I have talked about this, it's only his second year. He didn't have a good shot the first year because he didn't have good coaching. He's got to show me something more than that. It's just
I agree. I didn't see much
kind of
out of
sick
him.
of seeing him on the field. And
I'm not going to be his lawyer.
I don't know what they see in him that he start. But they must see something that we don't.
I don't think you're going to see him much more. I really don't. I'd be surprised. Maybe they're seeing something in practice that we're not, but
I was
we're not
screaming
seeing
at
stuff
him
in
on
games.
TV all by myself.
Yeah.
You guys were all out of town. I'm just screaming at the TV, and my daughters are going, "You're deranged. Only a player. He's a good player." But anyway, we look. We're gonna.
Baker Mayfield, because I think of his personality and his attitude, particularly in his first years, coming at people and, his coaches and, in Cleveland, he actually turned Cleveland around to be a respectable team in that AFC North division, because Cleveland was eating the bottom.
Yeah.
I think even his first year, is that the year they didn't have any wins? You know,
I don't remember.
it was bad.
Yeah.
But
I'll admit, I
Baker
thought.
Mayfield
Go
can
ahead.
ball.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, do you
remember?
remember last year when he went in with one or
Oh,
two
yeah.
days of practice and led the Rams to a
That was the
win?
Rams. Yeah.
You know, um,
I
he
think
can
he's
play.
found a place and a system that he fits into well as well there in Tampa Bay. So he's probably gonna
But then again, he
probably gonna
did
have a
play
good
our
season. You
team.
know.
He did play us, and he was at home, and he got on a roll. I mean, he
Yeah.
made some incredible throws.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
thought he was at like Sam Howell level in my mind, like
Right.
scrambling quarterback, maybe Russell Wilson
Oh no,
level.
yeah,
And then all of a sudden, after the last 2 years, I said, "This guy is like, he's a real quarterback." I mean, this
Yeah.
guy.
he's a real quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's smart. He's gutsy.
Gutsy.
He's a
Definitely.
leader. He's a leader, whether you like him or not. He's confident enough to lead a group of men. And you know, when you got a room full of alpha dogs and testosterone all over the place, you need that. And I'll tell you the truth, Jaden Daniels, I like his demeanor.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things that I thought was
I
tough
do
with
too.
Sam Howell last year, was that he just had that stone face.
Yeah.
It looked the same whether he was happy, excited,
Yeah.
or whatever. And you know, he can't necessarily help his anatomy, but it's just like a frozen face.
Yeah.
And Jaden Daniels seems to have that charisma that
Oh, yeah.
guys in the locker room like, people like, they gravitate to him. And he did not seem awkward
No.
to
No.
me.
I heard it. Somebody say his
He seemed
best smile
well
in
in
the NFL.
command.
Best. Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Best smile.
He seemed a little on the cocky side, which I don't mind. I mean,
love
if
it.
you're going to be,
Little swagger's okay.
yeah, I mean, he's got it right. He's Heisman Trophy winner. Come in, show people what you can do. I thought he got a little too like smiley during the day, like while he got his bell rung on that one head. That helmet came flying off, and that one probably didn't hurt him as much as him getting sacked and that from the blind side.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
But he doesn't show any of it, which I like. And Sam
Yeah.
was like that too. Sam never really showed the pain. But I'm just
Yeah.
thinking for him, like, don't be so cocky just yet. You know, get
Okay.
comfortable.
I do want to say this though, Eddie. I do appreciate this because on that last touchdown where he ran it in, no celebration. He gave the ball to the ref and he walked
Right.
off because he knew
Right.
that touchdown, even though it made him the first rookie ever score 2 touchdowns and have 80 rushing yards.
He danced on one of them, but that's okay.
Really?
Yeah.
He
Yep.
set a record.
Yep.
Yeah. He did.
No rookie has ever done that in their first opening game. He danced in the first one, Eddie, but at that point the game was still close.
Right.
Yeah.
On the second, he knew that touchdown didn't matter to them winning the game.
Yeah, so
He
there's
gave
no
the
gloating,
ball
no
and he
glory,
walked off because he knows that winning is all that matters.
That's class. I like that.
That's classy because he's got that swagger when it counts, but he's classy when it matters. And I appreciate that about them. I'm gonna keep us moving, y'all, because we got another game to talk about.
And say this, 20 points in the opening game is respectable
Agreed.
for offense that's just coming together. In spite of the expectations, 20 points is a respectable number in the NFL.
Agreed.
It is.
I
but
will
also
say that.
Consider the game was almost out of reach when that last touchdown came through.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a garbage
Yeah, they kept
score
they
at the end,
they
but
kept
We also
a
missed
little bit
two
of garbage,
kicks.
but
that's
I
what I was
want to
going to
see
say.
that
Missed two field goals and missed a
Yeah.
long pass to Terry. You know,
That was
like
the real garbage.
those things turn the game around. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I want to
Yeah.
just really quick put a nod on the defense and say those miscommunications for me are expected in the first game of a new system. What's
Yeah.
not and what's the most disappointing for me is the tackling. Tackling
I
is
knew you were going to
tragic.
say
A lot
that.
of missed
It's
tackles.
horrible, and that's unexcusable in my book, right? Like these are all NFL players who have played before. You got to tackle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep. Wrap 'em up.
and it's also indicative of the culture we're in right now, where practice is different.
Yeah.
You're not trying to kill your offense anymore because you need them. Whereas back in the day, I mean, full pads all the time, these brutal 4 or 5 hour practices, and the guys would be beat up by the time Sunday would come.
Yeah.
But they were, some tough dudes back in the day.
Yep.
Some tough dudes now, but so tackling, they don't get as much chance to practice it in real time.
Yeah.
Gonna
Okay.
happen.
I
So
say that.
Dad, do you want to say
Well, I was
something?
just gonna say we did offense, we did defense. 1 special teams point because Cade York was let go today, and I was trying to find, unless you got it on the tip of your tongue, they bring somebody else in.
It did. It was another kicker from Cleveland. He was most recently, I believe, on the Jets. I can pull it up real quick. His name is
the word was that if we kept Cade York through week 2, then we give up the 7th round pick that we gave to Cleveland. If we let him go before week 2 or before the end of week 2 or so, I'm not sure what the deal was, but then we keep our 7th round pick. So for them, I think it was important for them to make a quick decision anyway, because it didn't seem like it was working. 2 missed kicks and then a kickoff out of bounds. I'm glad they made a quick decision, but also it saves us that 7th round pick that was going to be the trade for Cade York. So, we're struggling with kicking. Kicking sometimes can make or break a lot of games, let alone sometimes a season. So it's something we have to clean. It's something there we got to fix as well.
Yeah.
And they're working to do it. So,
and hopefully Austin Siebert will
thank
be the
you,
answer.
Austin Siebert.
Okay,
there you go.
so
Just that piece of news.
Our game did not go as planned, right? We didn't look as good, but we didn't look as bad as our next opponent, the New York Football Giants, who looked atrocious in their opening season game.
They looked atrocious in their uniforms too, man.
Yeah.
Just put that in there. They were awful uniforms.
They look like Superman took a shit on the field.
And I'm sure losing Saquon was a psychological blow to not only the fans but the team, but the locker room.
Yeah.
And what's his name? The tight end retired from Oakland.
Yeah, Warren.
Warren.
Yeah. What's his first name?
Oh my God.
Geriatric.
Anyway.
Darren
Waller.
Darren Waller. There you go.
Correct for 200. Go on.
He got divorced, and he got he was married to the Las Vegas Aces superstar Kelsey Plum, and he got divorced and retired from football.
Yep.
At a young age. So those things shock a team sometimes.
Yeah.
When you lose, veteran.
Way too much information on Darren Waller.
That was a lot. My WNBA love was leaking out.
We love that from Tico. But let's talk about this upcoming matchup, week 2. In my book, this is a must-win because we got the Bengals and then the Cardinals in the next 2 games. Like we got to win this game. I'm sorry, but we got to win this game. Like, if we have any shot at a Super or at a, I was about to say Super Bowl, at a season. Jesus, at a season, we gotta win. We gotta beat the New York.
We gotta beat the teams
in how many games?
Oh my God!
I know we continue to struggle with them, but and also if you look at the rankings or the ones, whatever the ones I was looking at, the rankings, I think there's only about 3 teams ranked lower than us, and the Giants are one of them. So it is a golden opportunity to try and right the ship here. Like let's get a win in the books. We've got the opportunity. We're at home. First game at home with the new this new regime.
New home.
So do we have any key matchups here? Do we have any things we're looking out for? Do we want to jump right into our 4 commandments? What are we thinking?
I
got 2 things I want to talk about. So
we're sort of getting crunched by the clock.
Yeah.
So let's find a way to tighten up. Bradley, if you got something
your 2 things.
You want me to give you 2 things right here. We didn't really talk about the offensive line at all. And I actually think they had a pretty decent day. Todd Bowles is the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he is notorious for sending weird blitzes.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have too bad of a day. I thought they did okay. Jaden Daniels did have a scramble, but that's part of the Jaden Daniels experience.
Hmm.
But ultimately, I thought they did a decent job giving him enough time to see the field. Now, the Buccaneers don't have the greatest pass defense. We're going to see a different type of defensive line on the playing the Giants. They've got Kayvon Thibodeau. They've got Brian
I
Burns.
was getting ready to say
They've
that, man. I don't want to
got-
see that guy no more.
They've got
I don't want to see that guy. Thibodeau, I don't want
is
to
it
see that
Dexter
guy no more.
Lawrence? Who is it on the D line? D line. But it's gonna be a definite different a look, and I think they're gonna be much better than we saw last week. Let me just get this. Dexter Lawrence is the other guy. So 3 pass rushers who are veterans and very good. And Kayvon Thibodeau is a little younger, but they're all very good. So we need to see that a little different. We need to see that the O-line play. We're actually, you know what? It's going to be a test. That's what I'm going to say. This is a big test for Brandon Coleman, our rookie left tackle. This is a big test for Andrew Wiley, the right tackle who struggled in the last game. And I'm excited to see what happens. I hope, knock on wood, Jaden Daniels doesn't get hurt. But I'm excited to see what happens. If we fail, we know what happens.
Yeah.
We know. You know what I mean? So
you were asking about Coleman during the game. Why wasn't he playing more? And I didn't realize he was coming off an injury. So maybe they're just trying to ease him back in. I think we'll probably see him more next week. Yeah.
And I think he played good, and he played 14 snaps. 13 out of his 14 snaps, he did great. He did let a pressure where it was actually Jaden Daniels ran for 16 yards. So it was a positive play, but there was pressure in his face. The next thing I said, keep this one real short and sweet. Daniel Jones threw a pick six yesterday, Sunday, and another pick. He threw 2 picks. One was a pick 6. Let's get an interception. That's my commandment. Thou shall get an interception because Daniel Jones is not good. He's booty cheeks. We got to take the ball away from him. And so
that's a great one.
That's it.
It's a great one because you mentioned earlier that we protected the ball. We didn't turn the ball over.
Yep.
Nor did we take the ball away.
Nope.
So no turnovers in yesterday's game. Like I do want to see us win the turnover.
I still think our defense is going to struggle because we're finding our legs a little bit. And I'm still high. I'm not out on our first episode. I said, I think the defense is going to be good. I'm not out on the defense. I'm not. I know it's crazy. They let up 37 points in the first game. I'm not out on them, but they're going to struggle early in the season. But I want to see 1 interception.
Well, so I'm going to tell you because defense was my commandment last week, and I'm sticking with it. I said defense needs to show up and make plays as a team. And I said that because it was my fear. It was my concern. And kind of, my fears came to pass, and they didn't. I don't feel they played as a team. So now I want to see them start to turn things around. There has to be improvement. That you may be right. They may not be, the number 1 defense in the league next week or far from it. But I want to see improvement. I want to see them start to gel. I want to see them communicating with each other and learning their places on the field and who's got what coverage and just not get, again, it was obvious to me as not an analyst that they didn't, they were unsure about what they were doing. I want to see confidence, and I want to see them know what they're doing.
And this Sunday could be a confidence boost for this defense.
It definitely could. That's what I'm saying. There's so many opportunities for to right the ship. And defense is my commandment. Defense needs to show up to show they can turn the ship around. But really, that you could say that kind of across the board. There's an opportunity here to right things.
I want to see, my commandment is I want to see Terry in the end zone with the ball in his hand and the ref going like this.
All right.
Very good.
I want to see that connection.
What you got, Eddie?
We need to see Terry get some targets in this game, and I think he will because I think that they pulled Jaden aside, or this week they showed him the tape. They said, "Hey, Terry's open. You got to give him a chance."
Yeah.
And I think he will. And I think they're going to when we see Marvin Harrison he got 4 targets and caught it 1 time. And the coach said that we're getting Marvin Harrison the ball this week. Like
Yeah.
these coaches know. They know
Keep
that
going.
their star players cannot get these 4 targets. So I think they're going to make a big emphasis on get Terry the ball this week.
Yeah.
So great commandment, Tico.
Well, mine is that I want to see a convincing, powerful first quarter. I feel like the first thing that we've always done is we start off goofy.
That's
I mean,
good.
look what happened the first play of the game. It should have been the easiest screen. He throws it backwards. We lose 12 yards. Like that didn't set a good feeling in anyone's stomach.
Right.
And I feel like when I look back at
It was
all our
the ultimate
games,
goofy. It was so true.
when I look back at our games last year, I said, what do we got to do to like just get into a rhythm? They even said, oh, we got to get off to a nice easy start. We'll give an easy screen to start. I love the idea of starting with a screen instead of like typical draw play off tackle. You know, let's see if we can run the ball. You don't know yet. They're not giving you any fake screens or any, who knows, whatever.
Yeah.
I want to see some power also. My second commandment, even though we're not supposed to have 2, is to
Love
see,
it. I always make the
see
rules.
all those guys that we picked up in free agency go off. I want to see Eckler.
Yeah.
I want to see Mariota just recover from whatever snoozing he's doing. But right now, I want to see guys like, who is this guy from Carolina? Frankie Louvu. He did some good stuff.
He did.
I want to see him get fired up.
Yeah.
And like
he was in the backfield all the time. He could have had 2 sacks.
Yeah, he really could have.
Bring him to the ground. I fully agree with you, Eddie. I want to see him finish.
Yeah.
I want to see him finish.
Well, that's what my commandments. Finish.
Yeah.
Finish
Great.
on whatever you're doing. Finish on tackles. Finish your run. Robinson always does finishing. He finishes.
Mhm,
And he doesn't look like he cares about whether or not he gets, a good hit or not. He's like, oh, you're going to hit me? I'm going to run over you.
Yeah.
Right.
I
So
want
you're-
Guys, I think we should take it on
Yeah.
home, and it's good seeing you guys again. And
That's it.
Let's
That's
wrap
it
this
for-
one up.
That's it. That's a wrap. Tico,
That's
you
a
started
wrap.
off. That's a wrap for this episode of Command West. We
And-
hope you had just as much fun listening as we did bringing you the latest and the greatest on the Burgundy Gold. The 5th commandment is you. Please leave your comment down below and let us know, what do we need to do to beat the New York Football Giants this week? Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like, and tune in next week. Thanks.
See
Bye,
ya.
Guys, with a big W.